I'm sore all over. Building this place up is hard work. Huh. I know a guy who could fix that.
You're gonna learn how Uncle Sam deals with commie maggots!
caps available in exchange for pillaged loot. Pillaged loot. Available in exchange for caps. This vendor unit is equipped with anti-theft measures. Don't get any ideas, chump. Wanna buy some junk? Need some ammo, chems, or spiky bits to stab people with? You may find some here. Had a hard day of killing and looting. Don't want to haul it back yourself? Sell it here. Reminder, any attempted five-finger discounts will be reclaimed and paid for with said fingers. You looking at me? How about you stop looking and start buying? Stick up, hop, hop. Just kidding. Want to buy or sell? We are the collective. We are the party. We are Legion. Our time is now for the proletariat.
Lean back and take a deep breath. It'll all be okay. There's no time to be upset anymore. Let it all go. Hey, world's tough out there. Don't make it tough inside yourself, too.
Crush capitalism before it crushes you.
Everything has its own song, you know? You hear that? It was the world saying hello.
Overseer's log, Missile Silo Alpha. No one's here. Not even any military survivors. It might be for the best. I don't think Vault Tech asserting jurisdiction over the nukes would have gone over well. But it also means I'm locked out. Access is restricted to the highest-ranking officers. It's not gonna be easy to fool. If we can't secure these sites...
Authorization
my God.
required.
The automated factory in the silo? Just how many nukes can it make?
A fight. At last.
Unidentified intruder detected. Beginning search. For your safety, please take cover until the lawbreaker is dealt with.
an emergency alert. It's the end of the world and we're all fucked! I love this thing. My friend, you just helped me tap into the emergency broadcast system for the whole region. This is gonna be so much fun! But enough small talk. Full disclosure, I didn't think you'd succeed at getting my signal working. So I was just gonna kill you and take your stuff when you came back. If you came back at all, that is. Guess it'd be a real dick move for me to do that now. Look, I'm what you people would call a raider. Killing, stealing, and cheating is kind of my shtick. And thanks to you, I've got a working radio. So I can reach other like-minded individuals and get them to join me. You've opened the floodgates. Hey, come see me at the top of the world when you get the chance. I've got something for ya, and I pinky swear I won't kill ya.
Overseer's log, top of the world. There's someone in control of this old ski resort, and if I ever find her, I'm gonna wash her mouth out with the first thing vaguely resembling soap I can get my hands on. Oh, selfish. That's the word. Maybe that's why she's alone. Maybe that's why she survived. But the only way she'll tell me what she knows is if I help her first. All the good people I've learned about who've died, and it's the sociopath who still gets to live.
Well, this is a little awkward. Not what either one of us expected, eh? Anyway, to prove I'm not a monster, I scrounged up some old junk to give you as a reward. Oh, I see now. You're here about that guy, huh? Well, good luck getting anything out of him. He's been dead a while. Who knows what goes through their dopey responder brains? Can you imagine going through life 100% chem-free? Anyway, you're probably looking for that scorch detector uplink thingamajig he was trying to install when they caught him. Seems real handy. I know where it is, but... no hard feelings, right? I mean, you're alive. Like there was any doubt. I knew it wouldn't be long once I got the signal boosted. Ooh, I thought you might notice them. That group you're talking about is run by this gal named Meg. I saw him head in about the same time as those other folks at Spruce Knob. If you want to talk to Meg, you gotta get on her good side. And I'm pretty sure... just a couple of hard-working losers. You know, the kind we like to refer to as suckers. They're giving Spruce Knob a real makeover, too. Putting up walls, rearranging furniture. That's a prime target, if you ask me. Meg thinks she's pretty tough since she ran off on Margie. She wasn't even around to see the end of it all. Bet she's loving the fact that they bailed at the perfect time. So she's bound to be way up on her high horse right about now. I thought you'd never ask. First, a peace offering. David had a trophy as a symbol of his leadership. You get that into Meg's hands, it's like passing the torch, right? Next, I'm gonna draw her ass out here with an extra special broadcast. Problem is, I need to access some old memory banks that David sealed off. He was an emotional guy. I get it. But I need you to find his original program, which I'm pretty sure he stashed at Rosalind's memorial. Surprised? Sure, he may have killed and maimed a few people, but that doesn't mean he ain't got feelings. I'm pretty sure that's how this whole memorial thing came about. Just some old thing Rosalind made for David when they made him leader. You know, sappy romantic stuff. Ever since then, it's been like his own symbol of power. Yeah, about that. David sorta didn't want anyone to know about the memorial. He thought the others would think he'd gone soft, and well, he probably wasn't wrong. So, hope you like playing detective. You gotta get to David's room, get the trophy, and then find something that'll tell you where that memorial is. I ain't saying you'll have to trash the place, but you may have to trash the place. Easy peasy, right? Nah, not high up on my list of things to do. I'm just here to keep them coming. Besides, I'm cutthroat for life, and I got my little buddy here to keep me company. Well, duh. I mean, when it comes to being a raider, I'm sort of the best there is, so that's a no-brainer. Lead? No way! Just thinking about that responsibility makes me twitch. I got the band back together to watch, not to manage the tour. Plus, now that they're pouring in, you can bet Appalachia just got a whole lot more entertaining. And I got the best seat in the house. Doubtful. Meg's probably keen on carving out her own territory, and the crater does look pretty sweet, minus all that powdery white crap. This'll always be cutthroat territory to her anyway, and no one wants a hand-me-down. Back to business, just how I like it. I knew I could count on you, and I swear this will work. Oh, hey! So, wanna help me out again? So, the old bands of raiders each have their own, pet. If I'm ever going to rebuild a raider army, we both win. I get answers, and you get a new toolbox full of scary things you can use to terrify your enemies and gross out your friends. We'll start with my personal favorite, karma. No, not that new age bullshit. I'm talking about a chem that hits hard but leaves you reeling. My cutthroat friends figured out a way to weaponize it. I'm gonna lend you my old syringer, and you're gonna modify it to shoot karma darts! Just bring it back, or I'll find you and kill ya! Seriously. Not joking. I really will. I know I'm irresistible and all, but if you want to talk to Meg, you're gonna need that trophy and program stat. I'll be keeping an eye on you from up here. I can see just about anything with my robot eyes and these viewfinders. And lucky you, since you helped me tap into the emergency broadcast system, you can hear my lovely voice from anywhere. that you've got yourself some karma, it's time to see it in action. There's a mean old Mama Yaogwai I like to call. Actually, strike that. I lost track of her a while back, so just make it so there's one less Yaogwai to worry about. I don't care which one. If you can't find a Yaogwai, find something else that's tough so you can see the karma in action. I know, it sounds crazy to make a beast like that tougher and nastier, but once karma wears off, it'll be as weak as a newborn kitten. That's when you finish it off, assuming you survive the initial effects. Have fun! got David's trophy? Pretty cool, right? Once Meg sees that, she's gonna know you mean business. She may have been a diehard, but they all started under David. Every single one of them. Even the gourmands would have killed for that trophy. Us cutthroats had all the power and they knew it. And that trophy was the biggest symbol of them all. Nice to see it still in one piece. Hope we can say the same for Rosalind's memorial in that AI program.
Please don't stab other customers while they shop. Wanna buy some junk? Had a hard day of killing and looting. Don't want to haul it back yourself? Sell it here. It's dangerous to go alone. It's dangerous to go in groups. It's just dangerous out there. So stock up here. Previously owned loot for sale. Mostly blood-free. Need some ammo, chems, or spiky bits to stab people with? You may find some here. Vendor not responsible for your safety or the safety of goods purchased. Caps available in exchange for pillaged loot. Pillaged loot. Available in exchange for caps. Wanna buy some junk? Note to the gourmands. Human flesh is not acceptable tender here. Had a hard day of killing and looting. Don't want to haul it back yourself? Sell it here. Stock up here before your next kill.
been hiding it. And that memorial ain't too shabby, especially since it's David we're talking about here. So now you'll have to repair that holotape, and there's only one place I can think of that may still have a functioning terminal to do it. It's out at Solomon's Pond. I know, you're thinking, what's tech like that doing out at such a cutesy little wilderness place? Let's just say some seriously intrusive operations went down there, so I'm pretty sure it's got just what we need. don't mess around, do you? Seriously, that looks like a tough fight. You're going above and beyond what I asked for. I'd give you a cookie if they existed anymore. Instead, I've just got something else for you to do when you're done killing that thing. Word to the wise, that karma stuff can backfire on you if you're not careful. And take it from me, you don't want to use it on yourself. Unless, you're really confident you can kill everything around you before it wears off. Okay, next we've got explosions. The trappers would rig up bait with explosives to take on some of the more dangerous game out there. I want you to go make some explosive bait and don't blow your fingers off in the process. You're not a robot like me. No replacement hands for you. usual, so reliable. I gotta admit, I've got some pretty mixed feelings on tapping into all these. On one hand, I'm sure David had his. On the other, I'm pretty sure this would be a whole new world of entertainment for me. You know, you're right. I definitely deserve to know. Now, just give me a second. Bleep, bloop, blorp, I'm a computer. Oh my god. Talk about some serious drama here. This is some depressing shit. I mean, I knew David never got to say goodbye, but he really did hide what he went through. I like to think of myself as an upgrade, and David only let me access the fun parts of Rosalind, but yeah, I can totally see why now. I mean, let's be honest, being all sappy and serious is a total downer. Blah. Okay, now where was I? Oh yeah, the plan. Let me just run some filters, a little arts and crafts, and... Are you kidding me? All this data and I don't have the one word I was looking for? Okay, hate to break it to you, but I need you to go back out there and find me. Best bet is Arctos Pharma, David's old corporate stooge job. I need you to find me a holotape with David saying the word negotiate. Yep, no negotiate, no compromise. It was his way or the highway. It's part of what made him such a badass leader. Just using my amazing skills to put together a little broadcast for Meg with David's voice. If she thinks there's even a chance that David... Not because she likes him or anything. Ugh, gross. But if David pulled through and she bailed, she knows he'll be out for her. My hero. Now get up! Did I just say that?
I'd like to begin by reminding you all the promise that Bethesda made when Pete Hines took to Twitter to say, "No, only cosmetic," referring to the microtransactions of Fallout 76. The whole marketing campaign of Fallout 76 emphasized time and again prior to launch that any sort of monetization scheme would only apply to cosmetic items. Now, the way that was implemented was still pretty bad, with overpriced items on top of a broken, unpolished, just unfinished game. But then we learned that Bethesda would just go ahead and casually decide to change their stance and start selling gameplay affecting microtransactions. Recall that repair kits were among the first of those gameplay microtransactions. That they would sell in the Atomic Shop. And then came the scrap kits, which for a price you could purchase in bulk in order to immediately send scrap to your stash and break items down that way. And then there's the utility items like the refrigerator and the Collectron station. And now Bethesda, on top of all of that, and on top of the $100 a year Fallout First subscription, which also has its own gameplay affecting elements or paywall features like private servers, among other things, on top of all of that, we have a new roadmap that Bethesda has introduced that adds an additional layer of monetization with gameplay affecting elements. The following information was relayed in this May 14th, 2020 blog post on the official Fallout 76 website. And the first thing this post details are some of the additional gameplay elements that are coming to the game, which can be seen in this sort of poster style image. And this article from Kotaku sort of bullet pointed all of this. So in the summer of 2020, we're going to get new seasonal progression system, high-level legendary perks, new legendary boss events, a new system that will be implemented for teaming up more easily. In the fall, we're going to get combat that will be rebalanced with enemies and rewards scaling to your level. Steel Dawn questline will be added, and a new loot-based activity called Daily Ops will be layered on top. And finally, in the winter, we're going to get customizable perk loadouts, new repeatable missions called expeditions, camps that will get instance interiors separate from the main world, and Brotherhood of Steel returning in a brand new storyline. Now, there is some stuff here that does sound pretty cool. That is assuming that Bethesda can adhere to roadmaps. We all know how fickle roadmaps can be, how unreliable this kind of stuff has been as far as AAA games are concerned. I'm only gonna believe this roadmap when I see it. There's just been too many unexpected derailings for Fallout 76 for me to be able to trust in Bethesda's capability to remain true to this. Now, beyond all of that, there is the extra layer of monetization that irks me, given not only the promise that Bethesda made, but given that they already have a bunch of other monetization systems in place. This just feels like an extra layer added because they figured, why not nickel and dime players more than we are already doing. This comes in the form of what Bethesda is calling 76 Seasons, which essentially overhauls challenges to, quote, help you rake in lots of new rewards along the way. This is our own take on a season pass style system. Now, by season pass, they're actually referring to a battle pass like system rather than a DLC season pass type of thing. And for those who are curious how the interface for the battle pass will look, well, here it is. It's themed after a board game, and you can see right here there is a sort of a path that you take before you reach the very end and obtain all of the rewards that this 100 level battle pass roadmap has to offer. It is emphasized that all players will have full access to a single unified progression path, which means everyone is working towards the same rewards through the entire season. It is emphasized that people will be able to take part in their inaugural summer season for free. Now, there are some concerns surrounding the wording here where they say that the summer season will be free, that everyone will get access to this without having to pay extra. But what about future seasons? Will they charge money up front before players can participate? And I'll talk more about that once I get to a Reddit post highlighting that concern. But moving on, it is said right here that there's a total of 100 ranks, and as far as the kinds of rewards you will earn, well, quote, complete in-game activities to start accumulating new score points, which will help you advance your position and rank up. Every time you reach a new rank, you will unlock an exciting new reward you can claim, like a unique outfit, an item for your camp, a weapon skin or power armor paint, consumables, perk card packs, atoms, even in-game currencies like script, caps, or gold bullion. So a number of these highlighted elements, without question, affect gameplay. I know some people might defend this by saying, well, it's not the worst kind of like pay to win because it's more of like a cooperative experience or whatever. You know, you can defend this however you want, but Bethesda lied to your face by touting cosmetic only. And the more we let this stuff slide, the more they're gonna kind of push the boundaries. Maybe it starts out small, but then this aspect will continue to grow, and we're seeing this, that they're getting more brave with how far they're willing to push, breaking that cosmetic only promise. And yes, folks, as you'd expect from a Battle Pass style system, you can straight up just pay money in order to rank up through the Battle Pass roadmap. So this is highlighted in this paragraph that reads, if you join a season late and want to catch up, or if you just want to progress more quickly, you will have the option to spend 150 atoms to immediately unlock the next rank and claim its reward. It is noted right here that if you want, you can unlock every rank in the season this way, but they must be purchased individually and in order. Now, Bethesda's trying to mitigate this by saying that you cannot unlock ranks this way during the first 2 weeks of a season, but after that, if you just want to buy your way through all of this, then you can go ahead and do that. If we do the math, we're looking at $1.50 per rank, and there are 100 ranks total. Multiply the two numbers together, and we're talking about an expenditure of up to $150. And that cost can be mitigated by, buying higher packages of atoms that give you additional atoms, or by obtaining items via gameplay, but it is still a sizable amount of extra money that you might be spending on this if you don't have the time to grind out this battle pass. As far as how you will rank up via gameplay, that is explained right here in this paragraph that reads, challenges themselves are not going away. In fact, completing daily and weekly challenges will be the primary way that you will increase your score and rank up. While challenges are here to stay, we want you to be able to complete them and earn score. In many cases, by playing as you normally would. We're making significant changes to the daily and weekly challenges you receive so that they are more straightforward and easier to complete than the ones you're used to. We're also changing how many you will receive on a daily and weekly basis so that they are more predictable and consistent. Scrolling down, this paragraph adds additional information. Aside from daily and weekly challenges, you will also earn score regularly by earning XP and by completing public events. We're looking into even more ways to grant score in the future, such as through daily quests or by participating in repeatable content that's coming to the game this year. So they're touting how, there's plenty of gameplay ways to level up and rank up through this battle pass. But if you ask me, the fact that they added this monetization element to it tarnishes all of this. And look, I get that this is nothing new as far as battle passes go, but for Bethesda to implement a monetized battle pass system at all, given their promises, given existing monetization schemes like $100 a year for some paywalled gameplay stuff, and the microtransactions where you can buy both cosmetic and gameplay affecting items, I mean, it's just starting to get bloated. It's starting to get way too much. They could have implemented a reward system that solely encourages gameplay rather than attaching a monetization system that will no doubt influence sort of the rate at which you can earn this stuff, because they ultimately do want to monetize this, and so they will make this aspect of the game grindier than it should be, so that people who don't have time to engage with Fallout 76 on a daily basis, who don't have, hundreds of hours in their hands for this game alone, so that those people will be forced to pay if they don't want to miss out on seasonal items. And I'll remind you once again, this is not a free-to-play title. Free-to-play games have a bit more flexibility when it comes to monetization because, the game has to make money somehow, so there's some leeway that can be provided there. But this is a game sold at $60 on top of microtransactions and subscription. Scrolling further down, you'll find screenshots of some of the rewards that you can earn via this battle pass system. So here's sort of an astronaut-looking power armor skin. Here's another power armor skin, some weapons stuff, among other things. And then right down here in this paragraph, Bethesda talks about their intentions with this new Battle Pass implementation. Here's what they say. Our original challenge system was not quite as engaging as we had hoped. Some challenges were complicated and almost all of them awarded atoms. We wanted to revisit our challenges and rewards to create a new system that is more fun, flexible, and offers more to look forward to every time you log in. After multiple iterations, we feel the systems we have designed accomplishes all of those goals. Yeah, hard to take your word for it, Bethesda, given the lies you have spouted with this game's marketing campaign and even with the game's post-launch. It allows us to offer lots of rewards for players to unlock as they make progress. It also provides a clear and achievable path to collecting everything and fun new themes every few months, all while retaining the flexibility for players to earn and spend atoms as they choose in the Atomic Shop. They keep emphasizing this is just an option, and this is something that a lot of AAA game publishers like to say a lot, except when you're strong-armed, sort of subtly, into spending money when something feels less optional because you are imposing a disadvantage or something frustrating like a long grind for players who don't pay up. Well, I mean, at that point, the whole optional argument is just misdirection, a pure illusion. Limited daily reputation. quests, and soon they're introducing seasons, which will take daily hours to fully complete, and legendary perks which only people who are leveling a lot can use. I understand why legendary perks will be so hard to get, because they're powerful. This I'm cool with, but something's gotta give. Make the script and bullion systems cap weekly, not daily, or something. Most people can't put aside 1+ hours each day to keep up. I just think it's unfair and has the potential to make a lot of players disinterested in the game if they can only play weekends and will need months to earn what others can get in a week. And with this battle pass, you only have 2.5 months up. I just so many hours with this game, they'll be out of luck. You know, they'll have no choice but to spend money. And that's sort of the intent. You know, that's on purpose. That's intentional to make the grind unreasonable for most people. And then finally, here we have a Reddit user expressing concern about future battle passes potentially charging up front. So the headline reads, so season passes. Summer is given for free. How much will it cost for future seasons? And do Fallout First members get it included with their membership? Need clarification, a little worrying. The user then highlights that they don't dislike the idea of seasons, but he is concerned that the issue lies in the fact that they specifically said that the summer season will be free. After that, will it be a purchase? People who have engaged with other battle passes will probably know that there usually tends to be a free track and then a premium track that people have to pay up front first before they can move down that path and earn some of the more lucrative rewards. And so people are wondering, is this where Bethesda's headed by wording things the way they did, saying that the summer battle pass is given of the broken promise surrounding the game's monetization tactics on top of the $100 a year Fallout First? It just never stops. And Bethesda's kind of getting out of control with how far they think they can keep pushing Fallout 76. Like, they have some good things going on here with this roadmap, again, assuming they can adhere to it. But this right here, this system that nerfs people's abilities to earn atoms, with this battle pass system that only really rewards the most dedicated of players while strong-arming those who can't play daily to spend money to get sort of these unique items that can't be obtained in any other way. Yeah, it's just getting more and more ridiculous and further away from the promises that were made throughout Fallout 76's pre-launch marketing campaign. Or at least that's one man's take on this whole situation. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are.
My gosh, you're right there. What a good coyote. This is amazing. Why? Go, bud.
Since launching the Brave Wilderness channel, there have been a slew of comments suggesting that we make a video of me, Coyote Peterson, meeting a real-life coyote, as in the animal. Sounds like a no-brainer that would be seemingly easy to produce. But truth be told, getting up close with a coyote is much more difficult than one might think. Approaching coyotes in the wild is virtually impossible, as these skittish canids will often flee at the first smell, sound, or sight of humans. So it wasn't until we teamed up with the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center that this fateful meeting finally appeared as if it was going to happen. Renowned for their conservation efforts, specifically centered around wolves, this location is also home to an adorable pair of red foxes. I had some pretty good luck frolicking around with Rhett and Scarlet. We had some cheese, we played on the fox slide, Rhett stood on my head, and even stole my glove, which wasn't exactly easy to get back.
I only have one glove, and the odds of me being able to get that glove back are not real good. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, you see what's happening? Rhett, oh boy. Rhett has taken my glove up and through the fox skyway.
What we learned was that the foxes trusted me and the cameras in their enclosure. But I know gaining the trust of a coyote will be much more difficult. So to help in making a friendly introduction, I'll be working alongside the Wolf Center's founder and CEO, Darlene. For the past 20 years, she has dedicated her life to rescuing wolves and their cousins, all while educating the public about the importance of having these predators present in their natural environment.
Good morning, Darlene.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm excited.
I am too.
This is going to be the first time that we actually have the opportunity for me to get face-to-face with the coyote. Now, just so you understand, it's been 5 years since we launched the Brave Wilderness channel, and the audience is always saying, Coyote, when are you going to get face-to-face with the coyote? But we've not had that opportunity until now, here at the Colorado Wolf and Wildlife Center. Now, as I understand it, the coyotes are very skittish though, correct?
They are. Yes, they are. But we'll give it our best shot.
Okay, now in getting the coyote to come close, what's gonna be my best approach? What's gonna be the tactic?
So we're actually gonna go in there and you wanna sort of be natural and just sort of maybe talk to him a little bit. His name is Wiley.
Okay, Wiley, that sounds about right.
Yes. And they like for you to be more on their level. So standing up is sort of a little bit intimidating to them. And then I've got some power treats, as I call them, to see if we can say, hey, this is an offering.
Portrayed as vicious killers that pose a threat to mankind. Yet this conviction couldn't be further from the truth. My goal is to demonstrate how timid these animals are, even one that has been practically hand-raised by humans. According to Darlene, I am one of the only outsiders that has ever tried to interact with this coyote, and physical contact by anyone other than Darlene has never been achieved. So it is completely possible that this animal will want nothing to do with me.
So, Darlene, what we were thinking is maybe set up in this back snow area here.
Back over here? Okay.
Back over here, and I'm gonna try to figure a good spot to place the cameras.
Okay.
And we will see if the coyote will come down and hang out. What I'm gonna do is set up this camera.
He's in here?
Oh, he's in here. He's in his little, he's in his little thing there.
Oh.
There he is, that's his castle. It's like Game of Thrones in there.
Yes.
Hey buddy, I'm gonna take off my sunglasses. There he is, there he is. Hi. Hi, Wiley.
There he is, good boy.
So that's his little coyote castle. And what I'm gonna do is set up the cameras over here. It's gonna take some time. I'm gonna have to be very patient. But with any luck, he'll warm up to us and come out and we'll have this moment.
Mario and the crew are setting up their cameras on an overlooking observation porch. Their presence in the enclosure will definitely be too intimidating for the coyote. Keeping the technology footprint small is important, so I have a pair of GoPros that shouldn't seem too threatening. I'll set those up next to me with the hope that they will catch any up-close moments with the coyote. If I am simply able to get this animal to investigate my presence, I will consider the encounter an incredible success.
Today is Coyote's big day. He's going to meet a real coyote. Myself and Matt were up here, got this vantage point. Coyote, the animals, are very skittish. They're intelligent
Any luck, I'm going to go face to face with one of my adorable cousins. There you go. Oh my gosh, you're right there. That's so cool.
That's really good.
What a good coyote. Hi, bud. It's gonna lay down like this. Wiley, look, treats.
Oh.
See that? He took it right out of my hand.
That's really good.
That's really good?
He doesn't do that for people that he has never met before.
Okay. I'm feeling pretty good about this.
You need, that's your relative right there. So.
Okay. Wiley, this is amazing. Only a few minutes in and already Coyote has eaten out of my hand. Wiley, here you go, bud. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Look at this. Look, there we go.
Very good.
Okay. What a good boy. This is amazing. Amazing. I thought it was going to take so much longer for him to get comfortable. He must know that I'm one of his friendly cousins.
Look at the hesitation. That timid pause in the seconds that seem to last forever as this creature slowly lends me its trust. Does this behavior scream bloodthirsty killer to you? I didn't think so. Next to wolves, there isn't a predator on our planet that has been more aggressively driven toward annihilation than the coyote. It hurts my heart that humans choose to destroy before they care to understand. And whether you believe it or not, our planet needs coyotes and the predator versus prey balance they bring to the ecosystem.
This is amazing. My first contact with a coyote. I'm so thrilled right now.
So we came to Colorado in the winter because we wanted to experience the wolves and coyotes in their best coat. So in the winter they had their big fluffy coats, and in order to prepare for this, Coyote actually started to grow out his beard. Actually I did as well. As of right now, Coyote's got his big beard and he's got his big actual coat on that has kind of some fake fur that kind of looks like Coyote. So I think he's trying to not only think like a coyote, but he's trying to actually look like one too.
That is awesome. That is me, face to face, about as close as you're gonna get with a coyote. Such a beautiful, beautiful creature. That was awesome. Okay, well, Wiley has moved up and into the other enclosure. I don't think it could have gone any better than that. How did I do?
My gosh, that was amazing. Simply amazing. You did fantastic.
Within the first 5 minutes, getting Wiley to come up and actually take a piece of cheese out of my hands was beyond my expectations. We spent about 20 minutes filming the scene. We thought it may take hours, but I think Wiley realized, hey, I'm a coyote, you're a coyote, we should be buddies. You've got little meat and cheese treats. Let's hang out.
That's it. I didn't even think that would happen. So you must have some coyote blood in you.
Well, my namesake has come true. I'm officially one with the coyotes. Darlene, I cannot thank you enough for getting me up close with one of these animals. The audience has been waiting to see this for quite some time. And I think at this point, we're ready to move on to wolves.
Let's move on to wolves.
I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure.
Coyotes continue to be cast as villains, and the overly hyped horror stories that surround them drive a fear into society that in turn creates an unwarranted hatred for the species. Human interactions do occasionally occur. However, these canids are not something we should fear, but instead should have a well-educated awareness of. Coyotes do not consider humans to be prey, but it is fair to say that domestic animals, like cats and smaller dogs, do occasionally make enticing targets. If you have an outdoor pet, be cognizant of coyotes in your area. Don't leave them outside and unattended, especially during the hours when these predators are most active. Coyotes have found and always will find a way to survive. As humans, our mission should be finding a way to survive alongside these predators
Justin, we are fast running out of skits and bits to do because all of stuff is still packed up and we can't get props in as readily as we used to. And we're talking about Star Wars. And I don't have any Star Wars stuff to begin with because I'm not a dick. So give me your shit. What's that you dug out and bothered me with earlier? Well, is that the button? That'll do. That'll work. It's broken. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's broken. Almost 50k beg EA to keep Star Wars Battlefront 2 alive. So reads the headline of an email I received from change.org this week, which currently hosts a petition that, well, does what change.org says it does. It begs Electronic Arts, like a little lost orphan holding their empty bowl out for more gruel. See, it doesn't just ask Star Wars Battlefront 2 to stay alive. In fact, Star Wars Battlefront 2 isn't dead. You can play it right now, and likely will be able to for quite some time. No, this isn't about bringing back an old game from the dead. This petition literally begs EA to allow common serfs the privilege and the honour of giving EA more money.
Continue paid support for Battlefront 2,
reads the petition's headline, which makes sure to communicate to EA that there's some money in it for them.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of the greatest video game redemption stories of all time. From a disastrous launch to a complete success, the transformation of the game is inspiring to all Star Wars fans and gamers alike. Unfortunately, the game was cut short while still having so much potential for wonderful new content. New maps, heroes, skins, private matches, private servers, etc. are a must for this game. All those who sign this petition would be willing to pay for new DLC to keep this awesome game alive. Save Battlefront 2!
Yes, save Battlefront 2, save it! What needs saving? It still exists, it's still playable, and while EA will no doubt drop support eventually, it'll likely remain playable until EA pumps out a fresh alternative. All that's really happened is that Star Wars Battlefront 2 recently got its final big content update. In fact, DICE has already said that the game's still getting support in the form of patches for both technical and gameplay improvements. On top of that, the game is getting an ongoing calendar of public events, with one occurring every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There are online games being played today that would kill for that kind of support. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is not dead, nor is it in need of saving. It's simply not getting more stuff after over 2 years of stuff. This petition has already given those on the corporate side of this exchange a chance to rewrite history and vindicate themselves despite the awful shit they tried to pull. In responding to the petition, DICE producer Ben Walk seized on an opportunity to reframe the original backlash, claiming, "You keep posting this to me, but I'm not sure what you want me to do with this. The team has seen it, but it's not our call. I really love that almost 30k of you have signed this, but over 200k signed the alternative petition to this 2.5 years ago. Perspective." This perspective offered by Walk is presented through an exceptionally warped lens. The alternative petition 2.5 years ago was protesting very specific economic models introduced to the game at the time. The initial BF2 rebellion was not against any and all monetization in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was against in-game gambling mechanics, expenditure-based gameplay advantages, and 40-fucking-hour grinds that were embarrassingly described by EA as supporting a sense of pride and accomplishment. Ben Walk is exhibiting some palpable frustration, and from his point of view, it may be understandable. From his point of view, it really may be as simple as he's presenting it. He's gone from seeing people upset about spending money on the game to seeing them upset about not spending money on the game. That is, however, a most reductive view of the situation that robs it of any and all context, and his snippy point of perspective seems to imply that the fanbase did it to themselves, that they once dared to protest the game's intrusive monetization, and now they're reaping what they sow. In reality, the two petitions can't really be conflated unless you take an almost insultingly rudimentary view of them. Now look, I do get that Star Wars Battlefront 2 had a lot of free content updates, mostly because the monetization fiasco had gotten so bad it was really hard for them to find ways to monetize the game anymore. And not everyone signing the petition is doing it because the only value they see in a game is its monetization. No, a lot of them are doing it because the only value they see in a game is whether it's constantly updated, whether those updates are free or not. But offering meekly to pay for these updates feeds into an attitude that a lot of gamers TM have, that games need ongoing content to remain alive, that ongoing content to remain alive, that ongoing content costs money, and therefore, the more shit there is to buy, the better. It's the same attitude that props up the single player is dead myth that publishers like to bandy around. Single player games were never dead, they're just monetary dead ends if your primary focus is recurrent user spending. Don't help them. Begging to spend money to keep a game alive when it isn't even dead fosters the exact kind of environment that executives want. They want a game's lifespan and a game's monetization to be one and the same, and they want you to be grateful for it.
Star Wars electronic lightsabers. Which side will you choose? The side of Anakin Skywalker or the dark side?
The idea that Star Wars Battlefront 2 is some kind of inspiring redemption story is a popular one among current fans of the game. And it can't be denied that the game definitely went from total fucking dogshit to better than total fucking dogshit. Battlefront 2 historically is one of the biggest backfires in video game history. Initially conceived as a way to swindle money out of Star Wars fans, the game's initial pay-to-win system was so offensive, EA was forced to revamp things before the game's official launch, the first move in a daisy chain of blunders and fixes and blunders that became such a huge controversy. Battlefront 2 can be credited in a significant way for loot boxes coming under the legal and political scrutiny that today makes their inclusion in games more difficult than it used to be. That Electronic Arts' obnoxiously wanton avarice had a direct impact on the regulation of said avarice is one of my favourite examples of poetic justice in video games. That's why it makes me feel quite genuinely sick a little bit when I see the very people EA tried to exploit and prey upon actively pleading with EA to sink its fangs in deeper. Adjacent to all this, I've been increasingly concerned by the implication that the moment a player runs out of excuses to constantly toss money at a game, even if that game already cost upwards of $60 to begin with, it's perceived as dead. That simply logging on and playing a game isn't enough. There has to be more expenditure to look forward to. The only way to know if a game's worth playing is if you can keep spending money on it. And in a way, I can't judge that attitude too harshly, because the audience is just picking that attitude up from AAA publishers, some of whom have proven willing to drop support for a game when it doesn't turn into an overnight cash cow. In the words of this petition, new maps, hero skins, private matches, private servers, etc. are a must. All those who sign this petition would be willing to pay for new DLC to keep this awesome game alive. Save Battlefront 2.
Would you rescue me? Would you rescue me?
It's sadly not uncommon to see a dedicated set of customers actively campaigning for more DLC and microtransactions in video games. The game industry has done a terrific job of normalizing aggressive in-game monetization and has proven ghoulishly adept at training its customers like good little doggies. Publishers have tied in-game economies so closely to continued game support that these two very different things are one and the same in the minds of many players. I've actually seen commenters on social media complain when a game doesn't have microtransactions, usually to speed something up that they perceive as lengthy and grindy, because the industry has trained people, especially those too young to remember what's been carved out and resold to us, to believe that buying your way to a more luxurious experience is the done thing. We've now seen almost a decade of microtransactions in $60 games, fee-to-pay games if you will, and over 15 years of publishers steadily pushing the envelope with downloadable content. The sad fact is, most of you watching this video are in your 30s to your 50s. I mean, I say the sad fact, you're the ones with money. Thanks for your support on Patreon. But seriously, you're between your 30s and your 50s, most of you. I've got the stats to back it up. I don't appeal to the vast majority of young people because I'm old and nightmarish and I talk about boglins, and we are all inevitably joining the ranks of the old guard, the fuddy-duddies. Truth be told, the shit I talk about and the way I talk about it doesn't have that kind of mass youth appeal. Every now and then you can get a massive backlash, see Battlefront 2, but to most people I'm just that weird old freak who never shuts up about microtransactions. We are to be replaced by a generation that has only known cosmetics as primary loot box contents and marketplace commodities, with anything earned in-game being the anomaly. A generation that has only known $60 AAA games as starter products onto which any number of deluxe editions and season passes and further premium content is bolted. Sure, most of you watching this still remember that what sold as microtransactions microtransactions today were all gutted from basic game experiences and resold to us at a premium. But you know what? We are going today, and before then we will be steadily outnumbered by terrifying young people with futures and dreams and all the other things we gave up as we got older and more aware that futures and dreams are garbage. It's what I always knew and said was coming. All the mainstream game industry has to do is outlast the people who remember a time before microtransactions, and boom. Microtransactions are no longer seen as aberrant even by a niche set. They will have always been there. They are normal. Now, I'm not saying that my generation is immune to this. For God's sake, I was born in the 80s, when cartoons really went to town in turning themselves into glorified toy commercials. Sorry, sometimes I'm startled by my own consumerism, but the point stands. You know, we were suckered in a different way. When I grew up, these toy commercials had just more or less always been there. Thundercats, Transformers, He-Man, of course, and it raised a generation of good little consumer doggies who would lap up the merchandise, the product, the toys, the busts, the statues. Must have. Must have. So what I'm trying to say is, you're all fucked. You're all fucked. There's no getting away from it because you're all fucked. And that is my talk on capitalism. It's not just young people, though the older you get, the more fun they are to blame. I see why boomers do it so much. Loads of people from all walks of life have been suckered in. It's been 80 years since Mass Effect 3, the first major experiment in AAA microtransactions. And the industry glommed onto the concept faster than you can say. The ESA doxed thousands of E3 attendees on more than one occasion. 8 years of microtransactions as standard. 8 years of pushing myths like, it's optional, or it's just cosmetic, or it's just time savers to skip the grind. 8 years of steadily and insidiously designing games to be less rewarding, less positively reinforcing, less fun overall, in a cynical effort to artificially inflate the value of optional purchases. Purchases that are, as we've explained many times before, nowhere near as optional as presented. You can't opt out of their presence or the impact they have on game design. This normalization process has been reinforced by psychological manipulation. As I just said, games have been incontrovertibly designed to make microtransactions more appealing, wasting the player's time, filling loot boxes with undesirable and duplicated content, leveraging cosmetics to encourage players to spend money to keep up with the Joneses. The industry makes no secret of how it beguiles players. In fact, it's quite proud of it. At
I'm in the best mood right now. I can't really say why, just know. You'll probably know that. You know, Fortnite, anytime you want to fix... Dude, do I literally, like, not have internet connection right now? Because, like, there's an... Huh? But as I was saying, so I took my mom to see Endgame yesterday for Mother's Day because she loves Marvel movies. She just doesn't really have the time. Teacher. And all things, like, Fortnite. I mean, it kind of makes... ongoing...
Hey, chill! Why you being so loud?
You're gonna die! Give me it.
Stop! I gave you a camp. Stop! Don't gotta be so toxic. And another, what's up?
Stop stealing my kills, dude.
Season 2 accounts. Other than that, use code DAB. Oh, you're about. Oh!
No.
And I'm the bad one. What's good? What's good? I just need to get more kills than him. Really quickly, guys, I just wanted to talk to you about a website called keyboardwarrior.store. So I was looking for another keyboard, one that is like 60 or so long. Look at that. You see that?
Bro, you're literally cheating. This is so obvious.
Best mainstream games encourage impatience and frustration in players, and then offers a monetary solution to those feelings. At worst, mainstream games have had a major role to play in fostering genuinely destructive, addictive behavior in human beings, something we discussed in a previous, notably heartbreaking episode. 8 years of this trash is more than enough time for any corporation to make such trash normal. All it ever needed to do was persist, and persist is what dozens of corporations have done, making an impressive fucking job of it in the process. It's just a waiting game, and all publishers have to do is wait it out. And that's not just long term, they can wait out minor controversies because they know that the gamer's TM will eventually get bored. They'll get really apathetic about it, they'll get aggressive in that apathy, and they'll try and enforce it on others by saying, "Oh, you're beating a horse to death, and aren't you bored of this yet? Let's move on." But no, the issues are still there and they're still rubbish, and companies know that all they have to do is wait for us to die and become worms' meat and skeletons, or little bits of dust if you do the Bernie one. And that is my talk on that. Game publishers have apparently normalised their fee-to-pay economies so well that over 50,000 people believe a game needs rescuing if it doesn't have any more stuff to buy. And I'm not blaming the author of the petition or anyone who signed it, though apparently more people signed it than actually play the game. So much for the petition's claim that everyone signing it would be willing to spend money. The industry has worked diligently to make it the accepted standard that $60 is a basic price, a mere shell, and that the better the game is, the more ways it has to get you to spend money on it, even though you just fucking spent money on it. This petition is a symptom, not a cause of anything, and as such I don't begrudge those currently on their knees with their hands pressed to their chests and their tongues hanging out. Though I realise that despite very genuinely bearing these signees no ill will, I can't for the life of me stop describing them as some sort of grovelling worm, and I don't even see them that way all that much. It's just a knee-jerk response, like seeing Andrew Wilson's head and immediately wanting to peel the skin back to look at the metal skull inside. I can't help it. But seriously, I have no major opinion on the grateful corporate thralls that disgust me. It's not the people, it's the act. The actual act of begging Electronic Arts for a new excuse to throw money at Electronic Arts is, in my opinion, a little bit disgusting, especially because for all the talk of redemption being thrown around, the publisher itself deserves no such redeeming. EA has and always will continue to find new and sinister means of tricking money out of people who have already spent money, and the idea that anyone in that company could look at this petition and feel even just a little bit justified in trying to turn Battlefront into a vulgar microtransaction vector is gross. The idea that anyone could look at this petition and think, oh, how the worm has turned, is not only wrong but repulsive. Fuck redemption. Electronic Arts doesn't care about your redemption. It doesn't need your redemption. It's not asking for redemption. If it was ever sorry about the things it's done, it would stop finding newer, more subtle ways of doing them. If Star Wars Battlefront 2 had been a solid game at launch, I dare say fans would have had more content than they got. If DICE and EA didn't spend weeks after release having to put out a massive PR dumpster fire and implementing rash game updates for the sake of appeasement, more time could have been spent on making a good game great instead of an intolerable mess basically tenable. If EA hadn't torpedoed Battlefront's reputation and turned a surefire winner into a gigantic fucking disaster, Ben Walk wouldn't have to say, for additional perspective, 30k is considerably less than our weekly players. Back when the petition did indeed only have 30,000 signatures. Just saying, if the game had actually landed the crucial first impression, it might have had a healthier player base, not just a dedicated set of spend-hungry diehards supported only by tens of thousands of people who are apparently signing just for the fuck of it. The petition says that Battlefront 2 was cut short. It wasn't cut short, it had just as much time as any other game, it's just a lot of that time was wasted, taking the game from insulting to acceptable. Whatever frustration the game's producer might feel, EA and DICE did ultimately do all of this to themselves. Remember, they dropped the ball so hard with this, they managed to get senators involved. Not like pretend space senators, like in Star Wars, actual ones, like in Horrible, Horrible Life. It's actually amazing what Battlefront 2 led to, and whatever redemption you might want to uplift, Battlefront 2's lasting legacy will be carved into oven-baked shit. Battlefront 2 will not be remembered for finally being a decent game years after it came out. It will be remembered for crossing the line so far that Star Wars fans, aka people who literally exist to throw money at massive corporations, actually rebelled against a massive corporation. It will be remembered for loot boxing so hard, loot boxes got legislated. It will be remembered for the most downvoted Reddit comment in history. It will be remembered for that time an executive lied about cosmetic DLC being impossible when it was possible in the previous game and became very possible in the current one. It will be remembered for that same executive saying nobody wants a pink Darth Vader when that's exactly what everyone should want. It will be remembered for EA telling its investors that removing the loot boxes would not have a significant financial impact on them, providing us with ammunition for years to come. People worked hard on Star Wars Battlefront 2. They worked hard on it before launch, and they worked damn hard afterward. It sucks, undoubtedly, undeniably, for those people to see their labour turned into a punchline and a cautionary tale. But it's not our fault that happened. It's Electronic Arts' perspective, yeah? Electronic Arts isn't your friend. I mean, pretty much any video talking about big companies will tell you that they're not your friend. That's one of the ultimate cliches in this line of work, but it's also true. Electronic Arts doesn't care how many people sign a petition. It only cares how many people are actively playing. And they hamstrung the game's own ability to keep people playing because they just, will you get that fucking cat out of the way? I've mentioned the cat now. Go on. It's not my cat. I'm not even very fond of it. Might put it down. The cat's name's Pork Shoulder. Pork Shoulder. Thank God for me. Pork fucking Shoulder now. My house, my rules. My cat's to name. The other one's called Ludwig von Bastard.
Hey, now the